What if the darkest moments of your life could lead you to the greatest love and purpose you've ever known? Imagine a war veteran struggling with PTSD and a severe injury, finding hope and healing in the most unexpected place, a hospital. This isn't just a story about recovery. It's about defying the odds, challenging our deepest beliefs about resilience, and discovering that love can bloom in the most unlikely circumstances. Intrigued to see how James and Emma's journey unfolds from despair to a transformative new beginning? Let's dive into this powerful tale of love, renewal, and the unbreakable human spirit. James was once a decorated soldier, known for his bravery and leadership on the battlefield. But now, he was a man haunted by the shadows of his past. The horrors of war had left deep scars on his soul, and a severe injury had only added to his burden. He suffered from PTSD, a silent torment that followed him everywhere, invading his thoughts and robbing him of peace. Nights were the hardest. James often found himself waking in a cold sweat, his heart racing as memories of combat flooded his mind. The faces of fallen comrades, the sounds of gunfire, and the chaos of battle replayed in an endless loop. Sleep became a rare and fleeting escape, and he spent many hours staring at the ceiling, battling the demons within. Daytime offered little respite. Simple tasks that once seemed trivial now felt overwhelming. Crowded places triggered anxiety, and loud noises sent him into a state of hypervigilance. He withdrew from friends and family, unable to explain the turmoil that raged inside him. Isolation became his refuge, but it also deepened his sense of despair. James's physical injury was another constant reminder of his time in the war. A severe leg wound had left him with limited mobility, further fueling his frustration and sense of loss. The man who had once led missions with confidence now struggled to walk without pain. His independence, something he had always prided himself on, felt like it was slipping away. The turning point came when James was admitted to a veterans hospital for rehabilitation. It was there, amidst the sterile hallways and clinical routines, that he realized he could not fight this battle alone. He needed help, and accepting that truth was the first step toward healing. At the hospital, James met other veterans who were facing similar struggles. They shared stories of their experiences, their fears, and their hopes for the future. It was in these moments of vulnerability that James found a flicker of hope. He wasn't alone in his fight, and there were others who understood the weight he carried. One afternoon, while sitting in the common area, James was approached by a young woman with a warm smile and kind eyes. "Hi, I'm Emma," she said, extending her hand. "I'm an occupational therapist here. I'd like to help you with your recovery, if you'll let me." James hesitated, unsure of how much he wanted to share with this stranger. But something in Emma's demeanor put him at ease. She wasn't just a therapist. She was someone who genuinely cared. "All right," he replied, shaking her hand. "I'm James." Emma began working with James, focusing not only on his physical rehabilitation, but also on helping him cope with his PTSD. She introduced him to various therapies and techniques designed to manage anxiety and improve his overall well-being. Their sessions were challenging, pushing James out of his comfort zone, but they were also filled with moments of progress and small victories. As the weeks passed, James began to open up to Emma. He shared stories of his time in the military, the friendships he had formed, and the pain of losing comrades. Emma listened without judgment, offering support and understanding. "You've been through so much, James," she said softly, "but you're here now, and that's a testament to your strength." Emma's unwavering support and encouragement became a lifeline for James. He found himself looking forward to their sessions, not just for the physical benefits, but for the sense of connection and hope they brought. She helped him see that his life wasn't over, that there was still a future waiting for him beyond the shadows of his past. The journey was far from easy. There were setbacks and moments of doubt, times when James felt like giving up. But Emma was always there, reminding him of how far he had come and encouraging him to keep moving forward. "Healing takes time," she would say, "but you're not alone in this. We're in it together." Through Emma's guidance and his own determination, James began to see glimpses of light breaking through the darkness. He started setting small goals for himself, each one a step toward reclaiming his life. Whether it was walking a little further each day or finding ways to manage his anxiety, every achievement was a victory. James's internal battle was ongoing, but he was no longer fighting it alone. With Emma by his side, he found the strength to confront his past and take control of his future. The shadows of the past still lingered, but they no longer defined him. James was on a path to healing, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of hope and possibility. James's journey took a pivotal turn the day he met Emma. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind that made the world outside seem gray and cold. James sat in the hospital's common area, staring out the window, lost in his thoughts. His mind was a storm of memories and emotions, each one battling for dominance. That's when Emma walked in. She had an aura of warmth that seemed to cut through the gloom. Her presence was calm yet confident, and she carried herself with a grace that immediately caught James's attention. "Hi, I'm Emma," she said with a bright smile, extending her hand. "I'm an occupational therapist here." James hesitated for a moment, his wariness of strangers momentarily surfacing. But there was something about Emma's demeanor that put him at ease. He shook her hand and replied, "I'm James. Nice to meet you." From that moment, Emma became a constant presence in James's life at the hospital. Their first session was a simple conversation, where Emma asked James about his life before the military, his interests, and his goals for the future. "I used to love hiking," James admitted. "There's something about being in nature that always felt right." Emma's eyes lit up. "That's wonderful, James. Let's work on getting you back to that place, step by step." Their sessions together were a blend of physical therapy and heartfelt conversations. Emma had a unique way of connecting with James, making him feel understood and supported. She didn't just focus on his physical recovery, but also on his mental and emotional well-being. "Tell me about your experiences, James," she would gently prompt. "Talking about it can help." James found himself opening up to Emma in ways he hadn't with anyone else. He spoke about the battles he had fought, the comrades he had lost, and the nightmares that haunted his nights. Emma listened with unwavering attention, offering empathy without pity. "You've been through so much," she would say, "but you're here now, and that's what matters." Emma's approach to therapy was holistic. She introduced James to mindfulness exercises and breathing techniques to help manage his PTSD. She encouraged him to take small steps toward independence, celebrating every milestone no matter how minor it seemed. "Each step forward is a victory," she would remind him. "You're doing great." As the days turned into weeks, James began to look forward to his sessions with Emma. He found solace in her presence and strength in her encouragement. Emma had a way of making the impossible seem achievable, and her belief in James's potential was unwavering. One day, Emma brought in a sketch pad and some pencils. "I thought you might like to try drawing," she suggested. "It can be very therapeutic." James hesitated. "I'm not much of an artist," he said, but Emma's enthusiasm was contagious. "Give it a try," she encouraged. "You might surprise yourself." James picked up a pencil and started to sketch. At first, his movements were tentative, but soon he found himself absorbed in the process. He drew scenes from his hikes, the mountains and forests that had once brought him peace. As he worked, he felt a sense of calm that had been elusive for so long. Emma watched with a satisfied smile. "See? You've still got it," she said. "Art can be a powerful way to express what words can't." Their bond grew stronger with each session. Emma became more than just a therapist. She became a friend and confidant. She saw James not just as a patient, but as a person with dreams, fears, and immense potential. Her belief in him helped James start to believe in himself again. One afternoon, after a particularly intense therapy session, Emma sat with James in the hospital garden. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the flowers. "You're making incredible progress, James," she said. "I can see a new light in you." James looked at her, gratitude filling his heart. "That's because of you, Emma. You've given me hope." Emma's eyes softened. "You had the strength all along, James. I just helped you find it." In that moment, James realized that meeting Emma had been a turning point in his life. She had not only guided him through his recovery, but it also helped him rediscover his sense of self. Their connection was deep and meaningful, a meeting of souls that transcended the roles of therapist and patient. As James continued his journey of healing, he knew that with Emma by his side, he could face any challenge. Their bond was a testament to the power of empathy, understanding, and unwavering support. Together, they were not just overcoming the past, but building a future filled with hope and possibility. James's journey toward healing was not a straight path, but a series of steps, each one building on the last. With Emma's guidance, he began to confront the trauma that had haunted him since returning from the war. These steps were challenging, often pushing him to the brink, but they were essential in reclaiming his life. One of the first steps was acknowledging his PTSD. For years, James had tried to ignore the flashbacks and nightmares, burying his pain deep inside. But Emma helped him understand that facing his trauma was the only way to heal. "You've been through unimaginable experiences, James," she said gently, "but those experiences don't define you. Together, we'll find ways to manage and overcome them." They started with simple breathing exercises to help James stay grounded during moments of anxiety. Emma taught him how to focus on his breath, using it as an anchor to bring him back to the present. At first, it felt strange and unnatural, but gradually, James began to find comfort in the practice. The breathing exercises became a tool he could rely on when his mind started to spiral. Emma also introduced James to mindfulness techniques. They would sit in the hospital garden, focusing on the sounds of nature, the feeling of the breeze, and the warmth of the sun. These moments of mindfulness helped James reconnect with the world around him, breaking the cycle of intrusive thoughts. "It's about being present," Emma explained, "finding peace in the here and now." Another crucial step was therapy. Emma arranged for James to meet with a psychologist who specialized in trauma. The sessions were intense and emotionally draining, but they provided a safe space for James to explore his feelings. He talked about the guilt he felt for surviving when so many of his friends hadn't, the fear that he would never be the same, and the anger that simmered just below the surface. The psychologist helped James reframe his experiences, showing him that his feelings were a natural response to the horrors he had witnessed. "You're not broken, James," the psychologist said. "You're healing, and healing takes time." With Emma's support, James also began to set small, achievable goals for himself. These goals ranged from physical milestones, like walking a certain distance without pain, to emotional ones, like writing about his experiences in a journal. Each goal, no matter how small, was a step forward, a victory in his journey of healing. One day, Emma suggested they try art therapy. James was skeptical at first, but he trusted Emma and agreed to give it a try. They set up a space in the hospital's art room, with canvases, paints, and brushes. Emma encouraged James to let his emotions guide him, to paint what he felt. As he dipped his brush into the paint, James felt a wave of emotion wash over him. He started with broad, angry strokes of red and black, expressing the pain and anger that had been bottled up inside. But as he continued, the colors began to change. Blues and greens appeared, softer and more hopeful. By the end of the session, James had created a powerful piece of art that captured his journey from darkness to light. Emma stood beside him, admiring the painting. "This is incredible, James. You've turned your pain into something beautiful." James looked at his work, feeling a sense of accomplishment and relief. "I didn't think it was possible," he admitted. "But you were right, Emma. Art really does help." As the weeks went by, James continued to make progress. He had good days and bad days, but the overall trajectory was positive. He began to rediscover activities he once enjoyed, like hiking. Emma organized a trip to a nearby nature reserve, and for the first time in years, James felt the joy of being in nature. The trail was challenging, but with Emma by his side, he felt confident and capable. During one of their hikes, James paused to take in the view. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape. He turned to Emma, a look of gratitude in his eyes. "I never thought I'd feel this way again," he said. "You've helped me find a part of myself I thought was lost forever." Emma smiled, her heart swelling with pride and affection. "You did the hard work, James. I just walked with you." Their bond deepened with each step James took on his path to healing. He began to see Emma not just as a therapist, but as a partner in his journey. She had shown him that it was possible to overcome trauma, to find peace and purpose again. and in doing so, she had helped him rediscover the strength and resilience that had always been within him. James's journey was far from over, but he was no longer walking it alone. With Emma by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they continued to take steps toward healing, each one bringing them closer to a future filled with hope and possibility. As James continued to heal, he found himself beginning to see life through a different lens. The journey through his trauma had not only been one of survival, but also of rediscovery. With Emma's unwavering support, James began to explore new avenues and purposes that brought meaning back into his life. One afternoon, while discussing his progress with Emma, James mentioned a recurring thought that had been on his mind. "I've been thinking a lot about the guys I served with," he said, "how they're doing and how I can help others who are struggling like I was." Emma's eyes lit up with encouragement. "That's a wonderful idea, James. You have a unique perspective and experience that can truly make a difference." Inspired by this conversation, James decided to volunteer at a local veterans center. He started by sharing his story, hoping that by opening up about his own struggles, he could encourage others to seek help and support. The response was overwhelming. Many veterans related to James's experiences and found solace in knowing they weren't alone. James quickly became a mentor at the center, leading support groups and organizing activities. He used the tools and techniques he had learned from Emma, such as mindfulness exercises and art therapy, to help others cope with their trauma. Seeing the positive impact he was making filled James with a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. One particular veteran, Mike, stood out to James. Mike was quiet and reserved, much like James had been when he first met Emma. Over time, James built a rapport with him, encouraging Mike to participate in the group sessions. Slowly but surely, Mike began to open up, sharing his own battles with PTSD. "You've helped me more than you know, James," Mike admitted one day. "I didn't think anyone could understand what I was going through." James smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "We're all in this together, Mike, and we're stronger because of it." As his work at the Veterans Center continued, James also reconnected with his passion for nature and hiking. Emma often joined him on these excursions, and together, they explored new trails and beautiful landscapes. Each hike was a step further away from the darkness of his past and a step closer to the light of his future. During one of their hikes, Emma suggested that James combine his love for nature with his newfound purpose. "Why not organize hiking trips for veterans?" she proposed. "It could be a great way for them to experience the healing power of nature while building camaraderie." James loved the idea. He immediately set to work planning the first trip, reaching out to veterans at the center and organizing all the logistics. The inaugural hike was a resounding success. The participants not only enjoyed the physical challenge and beauty of the outdoors, but also found a safe space to share their stories and support each other. The hiking trips became a regular event, each one fostering a sense of community and healing among the veterans. James saw firsthand the transformative power of these experiences, and he felt immense pride in the positive change he was facilitating. Through his work and his hikes, James had found a new purpose that extended beyond his own healing. He was making a tangible difference in the lives of others, and this gave him a profound sense of fulfillment. The darkness of his past no longer defined him. Instead, it had shaped him into someone who could inspire and support others. One evening, after a particularly successful hiking trip, James and Emma sat by a campfire, reflecting on their journey. The flames danced in the night, casting a warm glow on their faces. "I never imagined I could feel this way again," James said, his voice filled with gratitude. "I owe so much of it to you, Emma." Emma looked at him, her eyes shining with pride. "You've come so far, James. You've turned your pain into purpose, and that's something truly remarkable." As they sat together, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the camaraderie of the group, James felt a deep sense of peace. His journey had been arduous, filled with challenges and setbacks, but it had also been transformative. He had rediscovered life, found a new purpose, and forged a bond with Emma that was unbreakable. With Emma by his side, James felt ready to face whatever the future held. Together, they had overcome immense obstacles and found hope and purpose in the most unlikely of places. Their story was one of resilience, love, and the unyielding power of the human spirit. And as the night sky stretched above them, James knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. James had come a long way from the depths of his trauma. His journey of healing had not only brought him a new sense of purpose, but also a deep, unexpected love. His bond with Emma had grown beyond the confines of therapist and patient, blossoming into a profound and genuine connection that neither had anticipated. It was a sunny morning, and James was preparing for one of the veterans' hikes he had organized. Emma had been by his side, helping him coordinate and supporting him every step of the way. As they walked through the trail, the air filled with laughter and camaraderie, James felt a sense of completeness that had eluded him for so long. After the hike, as they packed up the gear and the veterans departed, James and Emma found themselves alone, the forest quiet around them. They walked along the path, the dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves. "I never thought I'd be here," James said, his voice filled with emotion. "You've helped me find my way back to life, Emma." Emma smiled, her eyes reflecting the depth of her feelings. "You've done the hard work, James. I've just been here to support you, and I've been incredibly proud to see you transform." They paused by a serene lake, the water reflecting the clear blue sky. James turned to Emma, taking her hands in his. "You mean more to me than just a therapist or a friend," he confessed. "You've been my anchor, my guiding light. I've fallen in love with you, Emma." Emma's eyes softened, her heart swelling with joy. "I love you too, James," she whispered. "I've watched you grow, heal, and become the incredible person you are today. I can't imagine my life without you." Their relationship deepened as they explored this new chapter together. They spent weekends hiking, evenings sharing stories, and quiet moments simply enjoying each other's presence. Emma's support and love gave James the strength to continue his work with the veterans, and James's determination and passion inspired Emma in her own career. One evening, as they sat on the porch of James's cabin, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, Emma took James's hand. "There's something I've been thinking about," she began. "What if we started a retreat center for veterans? A place where they can come to heal, find peace, and rediscover themselves, just like you did." James's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's an amazing idea, Emma. We could combine everything we've learned and create a sanctuary for those who need it most." With a shared vision, they began to make plans. They found a beautiful piece of land surrounded by forests and mountains, perfect for their retreat center. It took months of hard work, but their dedication never wavered. The retreat center became a reality, offering various therapies, outdoor activities, and a supportive community for veterans. The opening day of the retreat center was filled with emotion. Veterans from all walks of life arrived, carrying their own burdens and hopes. James and Emma welcomed them with open arms, ready to guide them on their journey of healing. As the days turned into weeks, the retreat center thrived. Veterans found solace in the peaceful surroundings, the therapy sessions, and the bonds they formed with one another. James and Emma's love and commitment were the heart of the center, radiating warmth and hope to everyone who walked through the doors. One afternoon, as James led a group through a mindfulness exercise by the lake, he looked over at Emma, who was helping a veteran with art therapy. Their eyes met, and they shared a smile, a silent acknowledgement of the incredible journey they had undertaken together. Later that evening, they sat by the campfire, surrounded by the veterans who had become like family. The crackling fire, the shared stories, and the laughter filled the air with a sense of renewal and hope. James turned to Emma, his heart full. "We've created something beautiful here," he said softly. "A new beginning for so many, including us." Emma leaned against him, her eyes shining with love. "It's more than I ever dreamed," she replied. "And it's just the beginning." Their journey of love and renewal was a testament to the power of healing, resilience, and the unbreakable human spirit. Together, they had transformed their pain into purpose, creating a sanctuary where others could find their own paths to recovery. James and Emma's story was one of love, dedication, and the profound impact of finding someone who believes in you when you can't believe in yourself. As they watched the stars above, they knew that their future was filled with endless possibilities. Hand in hand, they faced the world, ready to embrace whatever came next with the same strength and love that had brought them together. Their love was not just a new beginning. It was a testament to the transformative power of hope, resilience, and unwavering support.